why do you like the music that you like? Because nowadays it's kind of defined by TikTok, but each generation of people has a different way that they discover music. At one point it was the radio, or maybe your local record store, but now everything's on the internet. Everything's out there for anybody to access. A lot of times there's this conversation around making friends called the proximity effect. Would you have been friends with that person if you hadn't been seated next to them in class, if your names hadn't been alphabetically next to each other in the list? And this definitely applies to music. Were you around that when you were growing up, when you were in your formative years? When I was in middle school, we had Chromebooks and YouTube was blocked, so we couldn't listen to music there. But I remember Vivo was not blocked. So I just watched music video after music video, and that defined a lot of my tastes as I was coming of age. I always just think it's interesting on how people find what they actually like, because sometimes people don't like to listen to their friends' suggestions, or other times that's the only way they find new stuff. So does this idea of a proximity effect still even matter? Because yes, people have friends and those friends are listening to certain things, but when you have access to everything, you are in proximity to everything due to the internet, anything's fair game. And this is great. Accessibility in music is super important, but sometimes it leads to maybe a lack of appreciation for certain genres because you weren't exposed to the cultures that created that genre. You get people liking punk who don't even know what it means to be punk. You get people liking hip hop who don't actually understand the culture that created the genre itself. Maybe this is different than the original question of the video, but being able to consume the output of a culture but not actually participate in said culture, whether due to just geographical location or the people you know, because of the internet, is just kind of a bizarre thing that has only started happening since maybe radio, but definitely the internet.